I originally posted this on Creep Stories, but someone suggested that I posted it here. This happened a few months ago. The context required. At this point in time, I had just picked my mental health back up after an extremely traumatic, non-consensual episode. You can guess what it was. And I was still struggling with a chronic inability to say no to people. I'm a 21-year-old gay trans man, and while I never had trouble passing, I'm still seen as very pretty and young looking. So I was at a young people's event at my place of worship, which is completely accepting of all kinds of people, by the way. It was a lovely evening. I met a lot of great people, got a bit tipsy, and had a great time. This is until around 12:45 to 1 a.m. when things were starting to wind up. I went upstairs and met a man, looked approximately in his late 30s. His name was Tobias. Tobias was quite forward, complimenting my appearance, being familiar, asking about my sexuality, so I guessed he was just interested, but I didn't feel the same way. My place of worship has always been a safe place for me, so I assumed if I didn't flirt back, he'd get the message. Shortly after, I went downstairs to put something in the bin, and he followed me. When we were alone, he kissed me. I pulled it away and told him, "Sorry, I'm not available." He said, "Don't worry, neither am I," and gestured to his wedding ring. I laughed it off, turned, and walked upstairs, and as we walked, Tobias told me, "I can't believe I just did that. Nothing happened. That didn't just happen." I nodded and thought that was that. The evening was getting late. I decided to get home. I offered to walk a friend of mine to the station, and when she left to go to the bathroom, he asked where I was going. I said firmly, "I'm going to walk my friend to the station, then I'm going home." She returned, and as we left, he decided to come along with us. I asked where he was headed. He said, "Oh, I'll go to the station for you." I reiterated that I was going straight home from that point. Along the way, my friend wanted to get another drink and hang out, and I agreed. We were chatting, all seemed friendly, but I was becoming increasingly uncomfortable with Tobias's behavior. He was constantly complimenting me, telling me that I was amazing, special, and not like anyone else he had ever met, and he kept touching me, putting his hand on my neck or down the back of my shirt, and he kept trying to kiss me. FYI, this is a tactic called love bombing, and it's one big red flag. He commented on some hickeys I had. "Who was that? Who scarred you? Whoever it was, you think they're better than me? Really better than me? You let a boy do that to you?" I told him that it was someone I had known for a long time and reminded him that I wasn't single. He had kissed me around 4 times to this point, and when he did, I would pull away, try and put distance between us, move my head so he wouldn't, and laugh awkwardly and say, "We're in public, please don't do that," or "I'm not what you're looking for," or "You don't know me," etc. This man straight up tried to make out with me 1 meter away from some poor shopkeeper serving us. He squeezed my waist and commented on how I was skinny and small, asked me how old I was, and commented, "Wow, you look so young, you look like you're 17. Not sexy. He asked me if I was attracted to him, and I shrugged, shook my head, and said, "Sorry, I'm very into the person I'm with, and I can't even look at anyone else when I like someone." At this point, I should have told him to screw off. In fact, I should have said that a long time ago. But when it's actually happening, it's surprisingly difficult to get a bearing on when you can start being rude, which is exactly what people who behave like this rely on, a vulnerable person's fear of making a scene, or else they actually believe that this behavior makes the person want to be persuaded. Yuck. Back to the story. We all decided to sit on a bench, as all the pubs were closed. I sat on the end, and my friend sat next to me. Tobias whined that I wasn't sitting next to him. My friend asked why that mattered, and he said, "Oh, you know, because I want him to." "Never mind, I'm being too much, I'm going too far." I tried to steer the conversation away from him flirting, and he just kept standing and walking to where I was sitting to kiss me, crouched by me, and putting his hands on my knees. He didn't want to tell us how old he was, because he was afraid I wouldn't like him, but eventually he did confess that he was 37, and in an attempt to stop him from being interested in me, I revealed that I was transgender, and he puts his hand up his shirt saying, "Wow, you really think I would judge you for that? You have no idea who I am. I see you. Side note, what the fuck is this? The Avatar?" He would reply with, "I would never care. I'll still do everything with you." He meant sexually. I wiggled away as far as I was able to, and said something along the lines of, "Well, thank you, but I'm not interested." My friend somehow misread the situation as me enjoying this behavior. Probably because I'm a bloke. I texted another friend to call me so that I could get 5 minutes away from the situation. Walked up the street, explained everything, and made a plan, which was a really good idea. Talking out loudly about it, I finally registered that I wasn't right, that I was totally in the right to be uncomfortable and get the fuck out of there. I returned and told everybody that I was going home. The second I came back, he tried to kiss me and told me he was worried and had tried to come looking for me. I moved my head so that he couldn't and told him, "Please don't, I'm going home." I texted the friend that I was with help, and she immediately started saying that we were going home. She also told him that he should go home too, and that her and I were leaving together now. He asked me, "What's changed? You've come back different. Who are you talking to? What's going on?" I told him, "I'm uncomfortable and I'm going home now." He said, "What are you talking about? Have I made you uncomfortable?" "Yes, and I'm going home now," I replied with. Up to this point, I can definitely see that my lack of rudeness and conflict avoidance tactics had actually made the situation worse and given him the impression that I could be persuaded to do whatever he wanted, or somehow that I led him on. So, now I've been absolutely crystal clear. He should back off, right? Wrong. He said, "Whoa, who are you talking to? What's happening? Whoever it is, don't throw this away. I know we have a connection. You're special." I said, "I only met you this evening and you made me so uncomfortable, and you should ask before you kiss people." "Whoa, I can't believe this. You're trying to turn this around on me. I know you're drunk, it's fine, just go home now." He replied with, "Oh, I'm completely sober, I'm not drunk." At this point, my friend stepped in and tried to assure him that everything was going to be fine, and convinced him to go home. He asked me for one last kiss, and I shook my head. "No thank you." He said, "Don't throw this away," and he tried to touch my face. I reiterated, "I met you this evening, I don't know you, I want to go home." He said, "Can I at least have a hug?" and immediately tried to hug me. I pushed him away and said, "I would rather not." He said, "Wow, you're making me feel uncomfortable now." I said I would rather not. Please respect my boundaries, I want to go home. My friend again tried to get him to go home. He said, "No, you're making me feel like I've done something wrong. I just wanted a hug." "Oh, I know what it is. You're not used to people accepting you for who you are. You can't handle that I accept you and see you as who you are." "I mean, really?" I said, "That's not the case. I have plenty of people who accept me, but you've made me feel uncomfortable and I'm going home." At this point, I was stood up, backed against the edge of the bench, with him standing barely a foot away from me. I had started shaking because I was feeling anxious, so I just walked away up the street. My friend stayed with him, convincing him to go home. He didn't follow us. I took her to the station and got myself into an Uber. The next day, I made a report with the security at my place of worship, and the dude was promptly banned from entry. I hope people can see the mechanisms of how the situation was set up and find the confidence to be far more outspoken than I was, because being polite, I made the situation worse. I know it's not my fault, but I'm very grateful I'm not timid like I used to be, and I'm now able to absolutely be firm and, if needs be, rude about setting my boundaries. Therapy is one hell of a drug, and it's doing me wonders. So married creep, double my age, let's not meet again, for your sake. It all started as a nice evening. My friend had a birthday, so she invited me and my boyfriend to her party, which was about an hour away from my boyfriend's home. At the beginning, everything was good. We drank and had fun. I think there was about 30 people, and I don't know a lot of them, just a few, but it didn't bother me so much. At the time, I only drank sometimes, not often, but I could drink a bit without losing control. After a bit, a guy named Micah came over to me and gave me and a few other people vodka from a water pistol. I don't think anything about it because I've known him for a bit. My boyfriend and I don't drink much at all. I think I just drank one glass and, as I said, a bit from that pistol, so I wasn't drunk at all. From then on, I don't remember what happened. The plan was for me to go to my boyfriend's afterwards with him, but we lost each other sometime that evening. We don't know when or how. The next thing I remember was that I was walking on some streets. I didn't know where the hell I was, but I cried out loud. Sometime after that, I got into a car. I only know that it was smart because there were 2 people in it and I sat on the lap of someone in the front. I cried the whole time and I don't even remember when I got into the car or where they left me. So I guess it was about 3 a.m. or so, and somehow I got home. My mom was home, but obviously she thought I was at my boyfriend's. I cried and beat against the door until she opened it. She was so confused, but I didn't know what happened either. I tried to call my boyfriend, but I couldn't reach him as I found out his phone was out of battery. I couldn't find my phone and my purse was gone too. A bit after that, I went to sleep and it was the worst night of my life because I just didn't know where my boyfriend is and why I'm at home and not with him. The next day, I got my purse back. I left it at the party. I must say, I never left my purse anywhere. I'm very cautious about that. My phone was with my boyfriend, and I learned that he went in the other direction than me and walked around a while that night on the same street, but couldn't remember much at all. As I said, we didn't drink much, and other people from the party said the same, that they couldn't remember what happened. I always wonder if something happened to me that night because I cried so badly, but I just don't remember it all. Well, Micah, I'm not sure if it was really you, but I do think so, and if it's really true, then please, let's never meet again. I apologize if there may be some errors or things that may not make sense. This is the perspective of my story told from me, and part by my friend. This happened to me the weekend of Halloween, and I personally don't like talking about it, but I've been told by my friend to share it to get it off my chest. Me and a friend were invited to a house party just for college students in the richer area of town. So, the house was huge, with an acre of land and a pool area. This party was themed to be a little naughty, so my friend dressed as a sexy nurse, and I dressed as a belly dancer. The majority of the party took place in the house. There was about maybe 70 people, with the house being very spacious, so not too difficult to get around. I'm not much of a drinker, but I did have some juice that was available. Some friends pulled me and my friend over and took some pictures, and I set my drink down. After what felt like an hour of just taking pictures, I found my cup and took another sip, not even worrying that I left my cup alone for a while. Then a man came up to me who looked to be in his late 20s or early 30s, saying my boyfriend's name and said he's trying to call me. That's when I realized that I don't have my phone on me. I always have loads of respect for my boyfriend. We always make sure to stay in contact with each other, and since he had work, I promised I would contact him, but I just forgot. The man said it's urgent and said I can use his phone to call in one of the other rooms, so not really thinking at all, I followed the man. If my boyfriend really wanted to call me, then I knew it would be something terrible. As we entered the room, I felt as if I ran a mile and felt winded. The man closed the door behind me and sat on the bed and gave me his phone. I started to feel more weak, like I just got a migraine and just couldn't call. Then, I was helped to lay down, and within seconds, I was out cold. I woke up later, not sure where I was or what even happened. I felt my friend rubbing a napkin on my stomach while yelling. It took me a bit to come to reality, and I realized I was in the bedroom with my friend cleaning some stuff off of me. That's when I had a panic attack and just realized what I quite possibly have been used for. My friend calmed me down and told me it didn't happen. She explained that she couldn't find me anywhere and assumed that I went to the bathroom, but after some minutes, I still didn't show, so she went looking for me, eventually checking the bedrooms, and found me laying in bed with a guy with something in my belly button. Apparently he was playing shots with my unconscious body, sucking alcohol out of my belly button, licking salt from my chest, and kissing my lips. She didn't know how long this went on for, but I immediately felt sick and even coughed up just from the thought of it. Thankfully, my boyfriend got off work earlier, and my friend told him what happened. He picked me up while my friend asked about the guy, but, of course, no one knew of him or even recognized him from what I was telling them. I was taken to urgent care and looked at. Thankfully, nothing was wrong with me, and the drug in my drink didn't cause any further harm than just knocking me out for a bit. I wish the story ends here, but I started to receive texts from a random guy. At first, he was just asking me random things, and I just didn't reply. But then he showed me a picture of my torso, and even started saying creepy things to me, and even giving me the impression that he stalks me. This is still going on today, just texting me randomly. I've had the idea to try to bait him one of these days to finally have backup and catch him, but I don't know how smart he can be and what he will do to me if things don't go as planned. Edit. Thank you to everyone who reached out to me in the comments and DMs. It really makes me feel better knowing not every stranger out there is a creep. Because of my past trauma and now this, I often find it hard to trust strangers. As far as an update, I stopped receiving texts from the guy just before Christmas. However, I feel a weird sense that I'm being followed when I'm in public, and there have been a few instances that I thought I've seen the man again. I'm still spooked at random times when a random man looks at me for too long, but I've learned to get over my past traumas, so I hope to do the same for this one. I have contacted the police and asked what I can do. They took my phone in to copy the text I received, but I'm sort of doubtful it'll go anywhere. I honestly just believe it was a stranger who had bad intentions at the time and acted upon it. I'm not really even upset anymore. I just want to continue my life and better myself for any future events. Sorry, I didn't mean to make this update too extended. I don't think anything else will happen, but if it does, I will update when I can. Again, thank you so much everyone.